I think we're just gonna have to live with the echo if it comes on. I don't know what is happening with it. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh my god. It's so quick as well. Like it just like seems there for a second.
Okay, so Blood Bowl 3 dropped this week, and it was an interesting launch to say the least. I think there have been smoother launches of games. I think there have also been worse launches of games. So, you know, it's kind of like slam bang in the middle. So, yeah, I've checked on Steam. It is currently at negative reviews. It's very negative reviews, I think it's
How
at.
negative? The lowest I've seen was 20%. What's it at now?
I haven't
Has it
checked
gone up?
today. I haven't checked if it's gone up or gone down
Let's
or
see if I can
what.
find it.
Yes, have a look. Let's see what the stats are.
Let's see how bad it is. What's the damage?
What I find interesting are people who are reacting on Blood Bowl community and other social media groups.
Let's get to the juicy stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. But like, I think
mostly negative right now, so maybe that's improved.
yeah, there's
25%. Oh, that's pretty bad.
Oh,
Wait,
what
what
was
is it?
that?
25% out of 640 are positive.
Oh, that's better than 22. So
Yeah,
it's going up.
that's gone up. That
In the
has
right
gone up.
direction.
But yeah, from what I
Look at
can
the positives.
yes, one of the positives, it's gone up in its reviews. But yeah, on the other social media side, I've seen two camps: either people who have played tabletop and no video games, and they've got jumped onto Blood Bowl 3 because they wanted to give it a go, or they are people who have only played video games and haven't played any tabletop, and so they. So, for instance, there was a big discussion on the multiple rerolls per turn suddenly. And they said someone was putting that they'd seen people taking teams with 8 rerolls. If someone is taking 8 rerolls in their team, it's going to be like massively bloated, and you know they're not like it's not going to be then like I don't know any of the top tier coaches who would be using all 8 rerolls in their halves. Like I don't know. It just feels like that's from somebody they're coming across people who necessarily like aren't as experienced in the game maybe, and that's what those are coming from. But they were like, let's take this out, go back to 1 reroll per turn. So yeah, I just saw these two camps of these two groups of people discussing it, and there didn't seem to be much crossover between the two of them in these particular posts. I don't know if you guys have seen anything like that.
I feel like I've missed a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I feel like
Tree.
because
the right
I was
thing.
coming back from America when this was all launching. So it launched on Monday, right? In the first early.
The early access Brutal
Yeah.
edition, because that was 48 hours early access.
So was that Monday?
That was Monday, yeah.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Because I remember catching a little bit of Andy's stream as I was in the airport. So I like left America on Monday, got back on Tuesday, had a really crazy full day of work on Tuesday and another really crazy day on Thursday. So I like missed the initial launch other than just seeing like a little bit of Andy's stream, and then saw on Tuesday in amongst a crazy day of work checking in, there seemed to be a lot of negativity around it. But I missed all the like the review stuff you're talking about. I've just mostly seen streamers being angry.
Yeah,
Have
that's
you seen
another
streamers
side.
being angry? Because I've not seen many streamers being angry. So I know of at least 2 that are like have been pretty vocally angry, but everybody else seems to be mixed to positive, and there are many reasons for why that may be the case. All right,
Yeah.
or mixed mostly. I wouldn't say positive.
Maybe that's true. I mean, actually, when I say that, which streamers have I really seen being angry about it? I've seen like stream titles that make it very clear someone is angry.
I mean, okay, why not? Like, right? Like, we know Artemis is really angry at this, right?
Yeah.
Because he's been very clear and very like upfront about it, right?
Yeah.
I think Jimmy has also been reasonably reasonably vocal about not liking it, right? And that's one part. But I think other than those 2 people, people have been a little bit more measured in what they said, and I think there's a lot to be said about that being partially the brand, right?
Just to clarify, Jimmy Fantastic, not Cheeky Jimmy.
Sorry,
Cheeky Jimmy would like to make sure that
yeah.
distinction is made. But yes,
Yeah, Jimmy actually. So Cheeky Jimmy has also been. I think I've I've been following around a little bit and seeing what people are saying. Cheeky Jimmy has also been reasonably vocal all around, but I think he's one of the people very much in the measured camp where there's clearly things that are not working and has been putting that out there, but not to the extent of this is the worst game ever, let's go brigade them and like abuse the devs and all of those things, right? So
yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, isn't it, that we sort of need to address here is the response that people have had, but then the opinion that people have had, but then what they have done with that opinion and what they have done with that response. Sorry, I'm just going to change it so that I am the colleagues not just sitting there. Yeah, so a lot of people are not happy, and they had some good reasons to not be happy. They were on the same day that the Brutal Edition was released. They released my brain's gone blank. What's it called? The plan, the timeline for what they're going to release, and when, and like some kind of crucial things are planned to be released a lot later than people anticipated. So the biggest one that I can think of off the top of my head is the reconnecting. When you disconnect from games, like I've had 2 disconnects, but that was because my internet went down. That wasn't because of Blood Bowl 3. That was that was my internet went, no, you're not allowed to play online games, get off that. So that's, and then obviously couldn't reconnect, and one of them was a friendly against Cauleeflower, which was a real shame, but we dealt with it, and I could happily play an offline game, no problem. So that was the biggest one that I could see that they haven't released. And the other sort of on the other side of that is they have released cosmetics and then haven't released some of these things as well. I think that because there is a pause.
Okay, sorry.
I was going to say there is a pause function, but there's another pause function that they are going to be releasing later. So I'm not quite sure how that is working. But the fact that
was a confusing one, wasn't it?
Yeah, because you can pause the game,
but also they're planning on implementing another pause.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the pause they're implementing is, or that they have implemented. But yeah, people were upset that they have prioritized cosmetics over that and the warp stones and that kind of thing, which I do kind of agree that probably could have been put in later. But I remember when Spyro launched, that didn't have subtitles in its game. That was a big one. It was like, well, good luck for those people who are deaf or hard of hearing. They cannot read what's being said, so there are like it is an interesting thing that they have chosen to do, and I don't know anything about game design or game development, so I can't really say like whether this was an easy thing to do, or like why they made these choices, or if it was something that the publisher may have pushed on them, because I think ultimately a lot of this is because they've been pushed to release it. I don't know if you agree with that, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's clearly like been a deadline set, right? Like there's clearly been a deadline because this was supposed to be out like 18 months ago? Is it longer than that now? Is it fully 2 years ago? And after pushing back, I think it's pretty clear that like this deadline was not moving for anything.
Yeah.
And I do like, because I think I'm more positive than lots of people about it. And I do think that like when you think about when it was originally supposed to be out, if you think of it in those terms, it's a bit nutty that we've got this far and it's like really not ready. Like it's not. Like it's definitely like some pretty fundamental things aren't there. Like the no reconnect thing. I think the fact that that's like at 6 months on the roadmap is like mind-boggling, and yeah, the fact that it's launched without any league play, that it's launched without the tools to sort of give it longevity, like things that have to be there. That stuff is bad, and definitely it feels like when it's been pushed back that much, it feels worse. But I sort of feel like with that stuff, I've never made a video game before, and I don't know if they're just not resourced well enough. Like, is that the fault of the devs, or is that just the fault of like the funding that this project has is not sufficient to get done what they want to get done? And that's stuff that I feel like I can't answer. Like that's just yeah. that's someone else's shout, I guess.
Yeah. So to me, as somebody who's a little bit closer, and the gaming industry is way different than the software industry that I'm in, with completely different deadlines, structures, and everything. But at least with a little bit closeness to it, to me, it feels like they're. So if I were to evaluate this from the outside without knowing anything, I would say this is a fail on multiple levels. One, implementation fail with like launching with server issues. How do you not load test that? You have questionable community management and talking to the way you can like talk to the community and inform them of what happens almost after it happens. And also product prioritization, right? Certain things seem just fundamentally more important, like working gameplay and disconnect options and all of that. Admin tools for leagues than the things that come out, right? On the one hand. On the other hand, I feel like a lot of people, at least if you go to the general cesspool that is the Blood Bowl 3 general server, right? That's the one where all the crazy things are happening. It feels like people are taking this very personally, as if Cyanide in general and the devs personally are sitting there thinking, so how are we going to screw the community over now? You know what we're going to do? So we could code this so that it doesn't crash. In fact, we could have coded it 2 years ago, but you know what we're going to do? We're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to make sure that it crashes all the time because that's going to make them feel like shit and we love it, right? So, like, nobody's doing that, right? And you gotta remember that people aren't.
Oh my god! I did see one.
Trying to make a working team. Yeah.
Dizzy was saying this about people as well, like responding to it. I did see one response on Facebook earlier on like the Blood Bowl community, where someone had said, "This has upset me so much. I don't want to play any tabletop anymore." And I thought,
right. So I think a lot of people are taking this like, let's cut the nose off in spite of face kind of approach, where they're like, well, I'm gonna not, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna refund the money, and I'm gonna go and brigade other people to refund the money, and that will show Cyanide. Fuck you, Cyanide. And then what's gonna happen? Like, let's say that your refund is actually going to have some sort of effect, right? And you're gonna go and bankrupt Cyanide. Nobody gets a game.
Yeah.
So that's a super productive reaction to this. And so watching that was just like,
I think some people also think that like Games Workshop had a lot more to do with this game than they probably did. Like I think Games Workshop said, use our models, use our rules, and then probably pieced out. I don't think they really had a huge amount, and I think that might be where the whole tabletop thing is coming from, because they think that Games Workshop are also like, they were the developers and they are the ones who have coded this, and they are trying to get more like I've seen a lot of typical Games Workshop model of business for releasing the teams later on, and you know, it's like when you play tabletop, you buy one team, you buy another team, you buy another team, and it's like there are some elements of, you know, you can buy different dice skins, you can, you know, but I'm pretty sure Blood Bowl 2 also didn't release the teams altogether, and so I think there's like a collective loss in memory, or not knowing that this has happened before in the slow release of teams. Like even I know this, and I bought a game Blood Bowl 2 3 years ago, like, you know, way after it was released. So I think, that might be where that sort of like anger is coming. Is they're thinking that Games Workshop is involved a lot more than they are. But yeah, it has been interesting to see the reaction, and I think one thing that people do need to try and remember is that developers are people too. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but I think that has been forgotten. And given that I don't necessarily agree with how all of the developers have been responding in Discord, but I can understand why. Like with the way they've been treated, I can understand why they may snap back a little bit, because they've spent the best part of 2 years working on this, trying to get it right, trying to please everybody, trying to please their bosses, trying to please the community, and then trying to please like the my brain's gone blank, I can't think what they're called, but the people who like put stocks in the company?
Shareholders.
That's the one. They've probably got those to like please as well. And so when they then try launch the game after being pushed to do so, get all this negative feedback, who wouldn't that snap back occasionally or like need to like take a step away from it? And there probably should be a different marketing team who are doing the responses, who have set responses, who are doing this
and are used to it.
And are used to it. And I don't feel like that's happening. I feel like these are like they're leaving it to the developers of the game, who are trying to improve it and respond to people, and it's just this vicious cycle. And in the end, like you say, we're not going to get a game out at the end of this if that's going to continue. And what everybody just wants a game that works and is fun to play.
I just add another thing on this, because I feel like we've gone through like all these sort of responses to it, and there's been all this anger, and like the bit that I really want to say that like to me is like the most important bit is like when you sort of move past that stuff, which is bad, and I'm not saying it's not, but when you get into a game, I think it feels good. And like I did not feel like that about any of the other betas.
Yeah.
I felt like the last beta, I played one game in the last beta, and then I put it down and said I don't want to play this anymore, I'm going to go back to Blood Bowl 2. I have no interest anymore. This game, I've now played 4 games, and my feeling is overwhelmingly like I want to play more. Like I can't wait for my next game.
Yeah,
I'm playing after this.
Right.
I'm super excited.
I'm excited to watch you. But like, yeah, I don't want to go back and play Blood Bowl 2. I had to play Blood Bowl 2 just like because I had a league game, and I was really like annoyed about it. I was like, I don't want to play this. I want to play Blood Bowl 3. So, but they must be doing something right if I feel like that. I don't know.
And part of it is you really want a Blood Bowl 20. Like, part of it is that they have a captive audience in that you really want this to work. And I think we need to also treat this differently from we would if you take another game that came out that you don't particularly care about and it was hyped, but it's kind of shit. Okay, so you don't buy it and you don't have an emotional investment. And here we have an emotional investment. And I think practically speaking, we have 2 solutions. We have a don't buy it for now because it's not a competitively ready game yet, and leave it alone for 6 months and then see what it's like later.
Yeah.
Or do buy it and be actively involved in enjoying the parts that are there and, you know, filing bugs when things are wrong so that Cyanide folks can actually see what's going on and then make it better. And the argument of, well, they're not paying me to beta test. Well, no, they're not. But do you want this game or not? Like, you can't, you know, you cannot stick it to Cyanide. That is not something that you can do, and it's not something that will really feel that good because it's just like, well, I showed them and go yell at the clouds some more, right? Practically speaking, you can either enjoy it or not, and then just don't buy it, right?
I can't
Those
remember
are
who.
two very legit courses, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And
I've loved it, so.
I've also, I can't remember who said it. And my brain's suddenly losing what I was going to say. Someone said something, and I thought it made a lot of sense. What did they say? Someone said. What did they say? My brain has gone completely blank. And I had it in my head. I was like, yes, this is the next. Someone had said something, and I can't remember what it was that they said now, but it made a lot of sense. I think it was a text. It was in chat.
I don't know.
I can't remember. No, it's fine. It's fine. My brain just went. I will remember it at a random point in the future, like either on this stream or like randomly, like in a day or two's time, and then I'll come back with it. But yeah, I think was it to do with beta testing? I can't remember. Anyway, but yeah, no, I agree. Like I've had so much fun with this game. It's been like I know some people who don't like the space bar and the backspace, but I actually prefer it. I know I prefer it because I often found with Blood Bowl 2 I would accidentally click too many times and it would start doing something. Whereas with here I've got that separate push of the button, yes, I'm ready, I want to do this. I do my clicks with my mouse, get it ready, press the space bar, and I know it's going to go. And I think that's just so much nicer. And the backspace, you can't accidentally click the end turn because it's in that side of the screen and stuff.
Oh, I like the partial undo too. You know how you like right click and it takes away part of the thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of fun.
So shall we talk about the things that we do like with
have
the game?
lots.
Because I've got a lot of things I like about it.
And yeah, I think Cauleeflower makes a very good point, is that a lot of these things that people are complaining about, this is different from what I'm used to, and we have to remember that's just because you're really like the icons, right? People say these icons are crap, the old icons are good, and there's a really good mod
Yes,
to
I've
put the
seen
old
that.
icons in, right? But I think that's not because the old icons are inherently better, right? We're just all very used to it, and we know exactly what a block looks like, right? But if you see this, does that really mean block? Like, why does that mean block? It just means block because we all remember.
Yeah.
Some of the
block,
old
right?
icons are really weird. Like when you actually like look at them and you don't just sort of like thinking. And I think when I first started playing Blood Bowl 2, I didn't get those icons at all. So I'm going to try giving these ones some time and see if I can.
I am as well. Like I've already started getting used to them, and actually I saw the mod, I saw the picture, and to me, because of the clashing art styles, I just went no, I don't actually like the old icons in Blood Bowl 3 because it clashes so much with the art style. So I actually prefer just leaving it as it is. So yeah, it's
just to respond to what Sister Coconut said in chat, like there are definitely problems with the UI. We're about to do the stuff we do like, but there are definitely problems. I think it's really like. I do think there's some things that I think because I played the beaches before, I already understand them.
Yeah.
But if I was new to the game, I don't think it would. I think it could take me an hour to find that reroll. The reroll is tiny. Like you've got like a giant dice in front of you when you fail something, and then there's tiny little reroll icon that you've got to go hunting for.
The tutorial does show it to you though.
Okay,
so there's that. But that said, I think the tutorial. I actually think the campaign in Blood Bowl 2 was better at teaching Blood Bowl than the tutorial.
Yeah, I had some thoughts. I didn't mind because I know there was the whole thing of it's teaching you that one dice are better than two dice.
It did that, yeah.
I took it initially as the one dice it's showing you the like matching strength and everything, and then like increasing strength increases your dice numbers and things like that, until they didn't. They got to a point where it would have been really good at that point to be like, okay, now you can put somebody in to help increase your strength, and they didn't really do that. And I think that would have been, I think there were missed opportunities with the campaign. I don't think it's necessarily bad, I just think they missed a couple of opportunities to include some other things they could have taught. Also, they taught us the surf in the weirdest way. They taught you like to have the person on the side and to do it diagonally, and it's like, but the most obvious way to do it, and the way that everybody normally does it, unless there's a special circumstance, is straight on. So I thought that was interesting. But things we like.
I forgot when Dizzy said surf. I forgot to tell you the best bit of my whole tournament in California. Like the best bit.
Go.
In that final against like Team USA #1 player superstar who's beaten everybody. He had like sacked the ball on my offense and things were going badly, but he sacked the ball and recovered it by the sideline, and I surfed his knight with a snotling unassisted, did 2 GFIs and then a 3 dice uphill surf. It was the best.
Yes. Oh man, did you feel bad, or did you
Nice.
like? What was the feeling? Describe the feeling in the most details that you can, as eloquently as you can.
It's even more audacious than that actually, because I only had 1 reroll left and I didn't get it first time. So then I was sat there and I said, this is my last reroll for a 3 dice uphill surf. It's not a good idea, but I really want to do it, and it's the last game of the day. Now I do wonder if I had realised that it was the final, if I might have acted more responsibly. But I didn't know it was a final, so I was like, I'm just gonna do it. And I
For the
rolled it.
story.
And I was using that dice cup I showed you earlier, and so I like put it upside down.
Nice.
I just sat there and like didn't look at it right away, and was like, and
Did
then
you
I
get
looked it up, and they were all pushes, and I was like,
Damn,
he
that's a
looked
story.
genuinely hurt. He looked genuinely quite upset about it, which I do understand.
Oh.
But he won anyway, so.
Okay, yeah. I totally understand that people, like, I would be throwing things. I would hopefully not be throwing things, but I would feel like throwing things if that were happening to me. But I so appreciate the people who could just look at that and say, huh, that's funny. And, like, genuinely enjoy it. And I want to be those people. And one day, this is what I aspire. That's what Baby Giraffe aspires to be when Baby Giraffe becomes Big Giraffe. One day.
So going back to things that we like, one thing that I really like is the fact that Blood Bowl 3 is a lot better at showing you how the dice translate from tabletop. like in Blood Bowl 2, it felt like a lot of things just happened and there was no real way or no real explanation as to why, and until you like look into the dice log and then see how the dice have rolled and stuff. So I do really like the dice rolling above the head, and the fact that you can go in and have a look at the kickoff event and what the result is that you have to get that kickoff event, and you know it's got everything laid out. I really like that. So I think there's a lot of like good ways to translate it from tabletop into the game. I like that element of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was mentioned in chat, but like the time bank is huge. The time bank is so good, and weirdly, like, because I think the first time you try it, like the 2-minute turns without stoppages feel like a bit scarily fast, but actually I think overall games are just going to be quicker now, and I think that's a nice thing, because not having all those like clock stoppers every time someone moves, and not allowing that option for, because I mean the person got banned from CCL, but I have played someone who literally time briefed a game by moving every square one square at a time, and doing all that with the clock to keep freezing it. They were being really deliberate about it and saying it in chat.
Oh wow.
But like, yeah, like the fact that you know that the time's gonna take 2 minutes now, and then you've got that time bank for when you really need it. I really like it. It's great.
Time bank. I mean, I run out of time all the time, so I love it. Because, and just on the important turns, right? I don't run out all the time every time, and I've gotten even much better at it just through the time that we've had the game.
Yeah,
But
I think that's
time
what.
bank's fantastic.
I think that's been like one of the key, because obviously the debate with Blood Bowl 2 about like whether it should be 2-minute turns or 3-minute turns or 4-minute turns for CCL have all have gone around for ages, and I think actually having this 2 minutes with a time bank is really nice, because for those who do need that extra bit of thinking time, they've got it. And like for me, I just found myself in Blood Bowl 2 just panicking all the time and just going, I don't know what to do, like 2 minutes, and you know, I end up freezing and just focusing on I've only got 2 minutes to figure out what to do. What have I got? And so I found that like having that extra time, I can I can focus on what I'm doing, taking my time, doing what I need to do, and knowing that I have the time to do it. And sometimes, some turns, as everyone knows, sorry, there are lots of moves going on in chat right now. But a lot of turns, you already know what you want to do, and you can just do it really quickly. And there are other turns where you need to spend a bit more time, and now I feel like I have that ability to and that time to do it. So yeah.
That's right. I think they've done. I was saying this in my stream earlier, and I don't know like what the actual reason is, but they've done something since the last beta that makes it much easier to look at.
Yep, graphics look good.
Yeah, like it's nice to look at now, and I find it like easy to read the players. I think the circle, like the UI for choosing things is still weird, but the actual like big picture, like looking at the pitch and understanding what's going on, is so much easier than it was in some of the previous editions. And I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. It just is.
Yeah.
That's gotten better. The dice now look pretty good. So I've turned off all but the failed dice and the block dice at this point, and it looks, I think they look fine. You can see them. The colors make sense. The wheel is like, I actually like the wheel control system. It's fine now. It doesn't take over the entire screen. It just feels like a manageable control.
I do
I
feel
just don't
like
understand why the reroll icon specifically is so small.
that's what I was about to say.
It's
it feels too
tiny
small.
in the top corner as well, but then it's so tiny on the wheel, and I don't know why. You could just make it 5 times bigger.
It's not important to your gameplay. Obviously, who needs rerolls?
Yeah.
I suppose that in Blood Bowl 2, sometimes the reroll was a bit too big. I'm pretty sure early on I accidentally clicked on the reroll once or twice. But I do. I was about to say the same thing. I feel like the reroll is too small now. I can barely see it, and you know I'll forget that. And like you say, the Apo as well. Yeah, it's like what. But I don't mind the wheel. Like you say, getting used to it, and I think that's a thing that it'll just be getting used to it. And like when the next Blood Bowl game comes out or whatever, like people will be arguing against changing the wheel away and stuff. So I think it's just what we're used to, isn't it? Really.
A little bit. Can I tell you something? It's not specific to, well, it's specific to Blood Bowl 2020, and that I am so stoked and excited about is random fucking skills. It is so much fun because it's not complete and utter chaos like No Mutant Bowl used to be, but it's actually, there's strategic randomness in the game, which I think the one fear was that when everybody's a super tryhard and very serious, they're all going to just pick, you know, your Mighty Blow, stand guard, stand firm, chorfs, and it'll be boring. But the fact is, you get cheaper things by doing random things and then random skills and tactically adjusting during the game, and that's so much fun. And I've been really loving my leaping dark elf. I've got an
armbar witch thanks to Cauleeflower.
Oh, Cauleeflower.
Wait, that's a strength skill. So you took a random strength skill.
She got 9 SPP.
That's hilarious.
So
there
Collie,
are no bad strength skills except our.
Yeah, well, I was like, Collie, what do you want to do? Shall we give you block to keep you alive?
Do you know what though? Like, actually, like, yeah, I know armbar isn't great, but in some ways, putting it on an elf, you could then build it with like diving tackle, and then maybe it's better.
Possibly. And
I'm not sure. Are those two? Do those stack?
Well, because it just works when you fail a dodge, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So like diving tackle makes it more
even
likely
if diving tackle is applied.
So tackle, diving tackle, and armbar all together, that could work quite nicely. But with a witch, I don't know if as a witch it would work. But yeah, so
there's other players might be better on.
Yeah, I mean we've got it on the witch now, so we'll have to see how it goes.
Oh no, Synonymous had a breakaway player turned into a frog by the new zap skill.
I used the zap skill as well. Oh my god, I turned a rat ogre into a toad. It was glorious. It was a rat ogre.
Strength roll?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
I don't know, it worked. I was like, oh, let's see what this does. Click. Rat ogre's a toad. It was against AI, so that might have had something to do with it, but it was fantastic. It is a strength skill. I did not know that. That's great.
Well done then.
It
works best when you don't know, right?
Oh yeah.
That's how diving tackle
yeah, when you don't know
works
what's going on,
Exactly.
I was like, we'll try it. So
I really hope there'll be like a fun random skills league. I think there'll probably be loads once that gets going, but I would like to have a league that I get to play in where there's no picking skills at all and it's only randoms.
But there's actual value, I think, in randoming your lineup, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about doing a B league in my stream, so maybe that's the one we do it where you can only take random skills in the B league.
And you could still say like you can save and take the random doubles, but it's just still
random.
Everything has to be random. Yeah. And I think they're still bugging. There is a bug where you can bank SPP more than you're allowed to by the rules. So hopefully that gets fixed. Because you're not supposed to be able to bank until you can get a random characteristic. So you're forced to spend it then. But I think Artemis had that as a bug. And what I do love is that I think the people who are posting bug reports in the Discord server are really doing a huge service to all of us, right? Because as you can tell in the last few days, a lot of the bugs were addressed. Like I think the shadowing dodging bug, at least some of them have been addressed. So, and if the devs don't know about it, they can't fix it. So I'm a big fan of, if you see a bug that hasn't been reported yet, just let them know about it. And then, we'll have a better game. I think. Yeah,
they are responding, right? Like that's the sneaky git one they need to fix really fast because
that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm so excited. After this, I'm getting a sneaky git and I'm fouling everything I know into oblivion.
Oh, I think I've remembered what the post was. So someone was saying about how these developers are responding a lot quicker and they're fixing things and being a lot more responsive than other games that have started out buggy or buggier than this. where those games have not been addressed for months and they've just stayed in the buggy state. Whereas this, we're not even a week in and they have already sent out several patches. They're responding to claims, and like you say, bug reports are being made. So like, I think we need to be grateful for that. I think that's something else that people forget, is that we need to be grateful with how responsive the developers actually are. So yeah,
I mean, the patch notes look chunky. Like, if you actually look and everything is like, oh, here's 20 pages worth of fixes, which is 20 items, which on one hand there were 20 items to fix, on the other hand, like, that's a lot of work. And people were, I mean, it's France, right? So people working through the middle of the night, we have to appreciate a little bit of that as well, right? That's some commitment to getting it right.
Yeah. So we've had a good chat about things we like. What about some things that we are not as happy with?
I feel like we've also talked about that.
There might be a list.
Yeah, but I've got some things I haven't mentioned that I want to have a chat about. Well,
do you want to start?
I can do. Yeah, I can do.
Whatever you have noted.
So some of the things that I wanted to say about, not necessarily like game breaking, but one of the biggest things I have to complain about, or well, one of the things that I sort of noticed was the witch elf. I know that sounds odd and like, what am I talking about? But I feel like she's, again, wearing nothing and even less than she had done before. I don't know if it's just because they'd stretched her out a bit more. But that was one of the things that kind of went, And I even got my witch elf out, my Games Workshop witch elf, to like compare.
Oh, I haven't looked at that yet.
Yeah, she's incredibly, like... She's basically wearing very thin bits of material, barely covering her boobs, and then her shorts are like non-existent.
Wait. But is it showing crack like the Nurgle?
I didn't particularly look too far.
Okay, so that's an improvement, I guess. Because Nurgles are explicitly like... Do take a look, it'll be fun.
I've not looked at Nurgle too closely.
Okay.
But
don't listen to Giraffe. Don't let Giraffe come into your stream and say, hey, Tree, why don't you go to the customization screen? And why don't you try to change the body on that Nurgle bloater? And
oh god,
why don't you just spin it round and look at the... Don't do it.
Oh god.
I did that all day to all the streamers. That's great.
But yeah, I just... For A, they have missed out a bunch of female... players in other teams, so like Imperial Nobility I think is supposed to have female players, and like there are other teams that are supposed to have female players, and so the only female player that they do have in the game is wearing skimpy as all hell clothing. I haven't listened to like particularly closely to like the noises in case we have another Amazon situation, but that kind of made me and yes, there's Roxana as well. I've not bought Roxana. I've not used her in a game to like see what her model looks like. But yeah, like I cracked out the games because the whole point of the look of this is that they are supposed to resemble the Games Workshop ones more closely, and like this witch elf is not like still not very covered, but more covered than the witch elf in Blood Bowl 3, and so I will try and focus the camera as much as I can.
I want to see a pretty witch elf. Okay. I mean, they're shorts.
They're shorts.
They're shorts that I would wear.
But imagine...
Not the top that I would wear, but the shorts
so
that I would
these
wear.
shorts go to just under her belly button. The ones in Blood Bowl 3 are like down here. It's a good... And she's stretched out a lot more, so her body is a lot taller and thinner. So yeah, I was not overly impressed with that, and like I know that's probably a very me thing to have noticed, but I feel like it's something that somebody needs to notice, and it's not the most important thing that's bugged me, but it is sort of like the forefront of this is the new game, it's a new start, we can do more things with this. And I know there's been some discussion about like there not being female versions of the teams, and I feel like that could, I know it's difficult to like design models and like code models and everything, but I feel like with all the cosmetics that they've put in, they could have put a female head in, you know, or like a female torso and a female head. That's all you need to change, isn't it?
That is surprising with the amount of cosmetics that seem to be already be available and possibly assets that are not yet released but around. So that's could have been better. Agreed.
Yeah. And it also like feels like one of those things where like on the one hand, I don't think it's been like planned. I'm sure it's just something no one thought about. But that is that sort of thing when you think again, you're like, it's because you're no women in the room, and so no one's mentioning to you like, hey, you know, there's like loads of women in the models, and you haven't put one of them into the game.
Yeah.
Like, that stuff's frustrating.
Yeah. Do you guys want to go next with some other things that you're not happy with?
Oh dear. Okay, so from things that haven't been mentioned, I think game-breaking bugs first and foremost, right? Disconnects. You know, I think sneaky git, anything that soft locks. All right, so there's some things that are just the game isn't workable yet, right? So that needs to be fixed. Second, very close second to that, I think anything rules related. I heard multi-block isn't properly implemented. Looks like leap isn't properly implemented. One thing on my mind. So anything that, you know, makes the game work, right? Then after that, lots of quality of life things that we already had, right? Being able to see the list. Oh, okay, well this brings me back to one thing I really like. Renaming players, saving formations, all of that.
I love
really
those.
cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool. Not so good as the fact that you can't see the opposite team during inducements. So inducements and kickoff events and all of that could be better. So that's, you know, but that's, I think, that's a secondary step, right? First, make the game work. Leagues, admin things. Yeah, definitely admin leagues, because there's so many people, and that's sort of would be helpful to Cyanide as well, because there's so many people willing to give their time, their effort to moderate games, to make this fun, to get more people to come and play, right? You have Rebel, who wanted to have a league and actually backed out because of the lack of admin tools.
Yeah.
CCL, who is trying, and God knows how they're going to do it, but you got to commend them for trying to do it. So there's all these people who want to help, right? Leverage that, but you can't leverage it without any tools at all. That's the big ones. Let's see. I'm sure there's more. Tree, what do you got?
Well, I was just thinking in my head, I was like trying to go through my cross list in my head, and I feel like you've mentioned most of the big ones. I mean, in practical terms, like far and away my biggest issues are the things that don't work, right? Like, yeah, the sneaky git bug where you can just keep fouling until you get a removal is horrendous and game breaking. Like that's going to ruin games for people. I think the bugs are the biggest thing by far. After that, I think within the game, we already mentioned it, the tiny reroll marker I think is really bad, and newer players are going to get tripped up by it a lot. I think that the inducement screen is also a big problem, and the fact that like you can only like see your opponent's team by having to physically look at the models and look at the skills. Just give us a list, just give us like a team roster list. You have it in the game because everyone has one, so just let us see that. And the league thing is really big. I was really looking forward to being in like the Rebel first attempt at having a league in it, and it stinks that that's not there. Like I was really looking forward to that. I think that's the way that I would enjoy playing the game. There's other stuff that's missing, right? Like the star players aren't going to have their individual skills for ages, and that's annoying. It's probably not the thing that's most annoying, but it's annoying because that means we're still not playing the proper version of the game. Yeah, I don't know. I think that all those things are probably the biggest ones, and I'm sure there's others that I'm forgetting now that I'm sat here and write things down. But the biggest things to me are just the bugs. Like fix the bugs so we have a working game, and then I'll have fun. And then because there's the thing, like there's so much we can pick out as negative, and I think when I'm sort of like laying all those things out, it sounds like an insurmountable thing, and then I just come back to you because I've had lots of fun. I've played 4 games and I really enjoyed them. So the reconnect is a huge one, Tarek, and it would bother me less if it was like, well, that's not there now, but we'll do it in a month. The fact that they've said 6 months,
it's a bit long.
I hope they reconsider that, because that feels a bit not understanding how games work, right? Like that's and also something that a feature already exists, and I'm trying to give them a lot of the benefit of the doubt in that sense, because I understand that when people think something in software is easy, they have no idea, right? It could be or it could not be, but disconnect just feels like something. It's a feature that exists that people know how to make. It's a solved problem. It might take a little time, but it's not like to reinvent the wheel to do it. So I hope they reconsider.
Yeah, I think so. One of the things that was fixed or was put in the Discord earlier, I think it was actually put in just before we went live. When they released the standard edition, they accidentally gave them the benefits of the brutal edition. So the so the standard edition folks got 1,000 warpstone and some of the cosmetics, I think. So what they have done, if you have not heard about this, they have taken off the cosmetics, so you don't have those anymore, but they have let you keep the 1,000 warpstone, and they have added 1,250 warpstone, I think, to all the brutal edition folks. No, they did that on purpose to make sure that no one felt disgruntled. Or
they probably need to do more, and they will.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's probably like a thing we haven't talked about as the bad things. Like, I think a lot of people were very shocked when it first came out, and they realised that you're spending warpstone to just literally upgrade one player, not like have you the option to do it on lots of players.
Yeah.
It does seem like there's some pretty sort of cynical monetization going in, and that stuff. I have mixed feelings on it, because on the one hand, like, it seems really cynical and it looks extra bad when your game doesn't work. On the other hand, like, if they need to make money from the game somewhere, something as optional as that, I feel like is kind of the bit where I'd rather they did try to make the extra money. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's definitely very important to mention, if for no other reason than there's a lot of disgruntled and like just a lot of talking about it in the Discord and around the Discord, and because people have actually summed up how much it would cost to deck out a team in legendary gear, which I don't know, maybe like they're trying to make legendary special, and it's gonna be real special when you have to spend $1,000 on it. But so that one, I also it's weird because I have to abstract myself from me personally really not caring about cosmetics ever, and being like, what's the big deal? As long as it's not pay to play, I really don't care. They just have a market, right? And this is capitalism at work.
It's very important.
Yeah. On the other hand, people really care about that's what Blood Bowl is about in a lot of ways. So I think it's fair to be like, all right, let's not make this absurdly expensive, because now you're roping people into a game that they enjoy, and they think it's going to be reasonable to do the thing they enjoy, which is customize their minis. And instead, you now tell them, well, now you have to pay another 2 times that just to make your team pretty. But I think we should distinguish between this is really expensive and this model is stupid. I can't believe it's just for one player, right? Because that's just a model, right? Just because they haven't done it that way before doesn't mean it's wrong in itself. It's like, well, you bought a glove, right? Somebody's wearing that glove, or you give it to, to take it off a corpse and give it to somebody else, right? The question is, how much does it cost, right? What it's called and how you do it doesn't really matter, right? But if in order to get 2 gloves, you need to sell your house first, that's a problem. And hopefully they'll make the pricing a little bit more accessible to people.
Yeah.
I would like it if, like, over time, if you keep like having it and it's been on different models and they've died, like the glove gets a bit bloody, you get some holes in it, like you feel like
Wear and tear. Yeah, so the item is reused, as we know. I wouldn't mind if I hadn't heard about another video game that uses microtransactions in cosmetics, for example, is Fortnite. And yes, a lot of kids play Fortnite, so it's not quite the same thing, but and I don't think it would necessarily happen within the Blood Bowl community, but I have heard stories of kids being bullied because of them not having this skin or that skin. And I know, like I say, that probably would not happen here, but that's still something that's always on my mind. And then also, like, microtransactions and what they're used for, or what they are implemented for, I don't agree with. Even if they are just cosmetic, I prefer them to be cosmetic rather than pay to play, like you say. But like the whole idea, I mean, at least it's not loot boxy and it's not gambling type of microtransactions. I do find that a lot better. But yeah, I still find it quite like there's some people who are quite vulnerable to that kind of thing, and that does make me uncomfortable. But you know, unfortunately it's kind of become a staple to have microtransactions in your game. I don't like there's only a few games I can probably think of off the top of my head that don't have some form of microtransactions that are online. So yeah, it's
and the jury's still out on how hard, like, because they haven't told us how hard it's going to be to earn the warp stone, right, in game.
Yeah.
So that maybe it's okay. Torok asks a very good question. Do we plan to play Blood Bowl 2 in the future, and under which circumstances?
Blood Bowl 2.
I honestly think that I'm going to finish the Crypt season and never play it again. Maybe I'll be wrong, but like I want to play the new game. Maybe I'll change my mind after a while, but like I don't have an incentive to keep playing it if there's just a newer version of the game that has the rules I want to play. But maybe I'll change my mind on that. I don't know. Maybe I'll get bored of having only 12 teams, whatever.
Cauleeflower, will you play Blood Bowl 2 competitively? Blood Bowl 3 competitively? Because she mentioned that she hasn't played BB2, which is fair. What about BB3? Will you play that? If you're around to answer.
For me, again,
I'm shocked for you.
Yeah.
You said that.
You're shocked, really? Like,
yeah.
when will you play it though? Like, do you feel like you're going to go back to it? Like, because you're playing Blood Bowl 3 right now.
I think.
Sorry?
I'll go back and forth, I think.
Okay.
I'll dangle, vacillate.
Dangle, dangle. Maybe I'm being a prisoner of the moment. It's very possible. But I just right now I feel like I played a Blood Bowl 2 game tonight and I was really like, ugh, I don't want to do this. I want to play the new game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I barely play Blood Bowl 2 anyway, so I think it's pretty safe to say I'm probably not going to go back to it. I can't really see any reason that I will. I think it'll be Blood Bowl 3. Well, actually, no. I can give you one reason, and that'd be my computer crapping out. Because it's been having fun recently. And actually, funnily enough, Blood Bowl 3 has not caused it to crash. Like, even when the internet went out and Blood Bowl 3 had a moment, I came out of the game. But that was my choice. The computer did not shut down. So I feel like, Blood Bowl 2 caused my computer to crash too often, so no.
Well, that's an improvement we have not heard about before. I want to go back this season to BB2 because I have an 810 health team, Kai Elf team, and I need to at least finish the season with it and maybe kill it, but I can't just leave it at 810, right?
No, push that team on.
Yeah, so that's my only reason. My real reason, plus the crypt. So
I don't know as well, because like it's not just that there's like a new game and I'm excited about it. I think I personally was slightly hitting a wall with Blood Bowl 2 already, and I've played it a lot the last while. Like, and I've been a tryhard for a while, like trying to get into chalice and stuff. And I think that I'd hit a certain point of burnout with it, and having something different feels exciting. And I think there's just like something with, the meta in Blood Bowl 2 is very set, and like you can be fun and you can be Crystal Hunter and like, I don't know, take shadowing on the gutter runner and everyone will go crazy for a while and then you'll make it work because you're Crystal and you're good at Blood Bowl. But like really like almost all the teams that are succeeding are just building the same way over and over again. And yeah, I'm not going to miss Claw Pom. I'm not going to miss spinning into another Chorf team that's just going to pom my entire line. And maybe there'll be something else I'll start to hate in a while. But right now, I haven't played those things enough to hate them. So like, I'm not tired of seeing them. So I think that's probably part of it as well for me with not wanting to go back to Blood Bowl 2.
Yeah.
That's I am competitive, so that's the one thing that I am missing. Like, I would like... It's weird, because I never wanted to be in Chalice, but I always wanted to win, and my win to be recorded somewhere, and it mattered. which is weird.
Can I just say one thing, Giraffe? If you get into Chalice, you have to let us commentate for you.
Yes.
I'll be so excited to commentate.
Oh my god,
yeah.
yes.
Actually, no. So I thought about this, and I was like, if I ever get into Chalice, I want nobody to know about it. I want to play it sneakily, but I know I can't get away with it. So
No, we want to know.
Obviously,
At least let us do the final. At least let us do the final game.
But yeah, so I am a little sad that Blood Bowl 3 doesn't have like this outlet for competitiveness. But it will, right? Like that's just going to happen. So it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, there is like a chalice they're making for this first season. I don't even know how it works. I'm probably not gonna pursue it because it's too confusing to even understand where you're on the ladder. But they are trying right away to do something.
Yeah, because they've got the pre-season stuff at the minute, haven't they?
Whatever that's
the quick games, which I find that's fine when I can. But although, like I say, I haven't played a huge amount of online stuff because my internet, rather than my computer, my internet went no. But yeah, I think. Have we got anything else we want to really talk about with this? Is there anything else we've not covered, or
we've gone a while actually? It's been quite a long show, especially without Collie. I hope we haven't been boring everyone.
Yeah. Thanks for whoever's stuck around for 2 hours or just randomly shoot the shit.
I've enjoyed the chat. I just been worried that I look at the time like, oh god, have we been boring?
Well, I was just gonna say, chat are getting an insight into an unedited episode of the podcast. This is usually what happens, and then I edit it down to some kind of like length. Torek, when will our next podcast be? That is a question. I
know where. April 2nd, 1st, UKTC.
Yeah, oh yes, I will be. So, for those of you who are not aware, we are going as a UKTC team. So, we will be doing some stuff then. We'll be seeing Cauleeflower around and hopefully in person rather than all of us in person, hopefully without being through Discord. But then my brain was jumping even further ahead to July for the second Bang Average Chicken Bowl. I will be streaming tabletop games there, so I will not be playing myself. So if you are interested in seeing a tabletop tournament live,
I'm really excited about this.
Make sure you come back to this channel because I will be streaming. I will have my PC working.
I wish there was more of that. So I'm actually really excited, and I hope it works.
Yeah, I think it will. We're going. There'll probably be some tester streams, so you may see some random streams in the coming weeks and months leading up to Bang Average Chicken Bowl 2. But yeah, we'll be doing that. And this whole episode, unedited, will be going onto YouTube, onto the Hey Listen YouTube. So if you want to watch back, if you want to listen back to some of our opinions or thoughts, then you can do. If I do this, it should give you all the links. It should have links. Are you okay?
Yes.
There it is. YouTube channel. Yeah.
I just thought of something. A couple of things. Well, first, Collie really asked me, and I can't say no to something like that. So, penis. I said it. I'm sorry. But also, I've
never heard Giraffe be so timid about
demure.
Well, because it's kind of out of nowhere. You know, usually there's a reason for penis, and today is just it's just there. And here we are. Right. And the second thing is, if that's okay, can I advertise J-Leave's tournament?
Yes, by all means.
J-Leave has been
J-Leave has advertised it in my thing. But just before you do,
okay,
Torek, to answer your question, I am currently working on a solution of that. So to differentiate the players and their skills, I have got somebody who's got a 3D printer working on that for me. So hopefully I'm going to come up with a solution to mean that when you have that top-down view of the pitch, you can see what's going on. So yes, J-Leave's tournament. Giraffe, take it away.
Okay, so I hope Jayleaf sends this to you, Dizzy, because I can't post links either, I think. But
you
Jayleaf is going to
should
hold a
be.
tournament.
Are you a moderator in the channel?
I am not, but also I have a weird computer setup right now, so probably best that
If you're VIP, you should be able to. I'm pretty sure you are VIP.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can post links. Yeah, you can post links.
But Caulee did it, which is great.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you, Caulee. So if you remember the GT Tour tournament of some time back, so that's been more complicated than it really needs to be. And Jayleaf had a brilliant idea of just, why don't we just run a tournament with discords and spreadsheets and not deal with all the other stuff. And he's organized, and we're going to do a trial run next week, I think, starting. Check out that Discord. It's going to be really fun. Caulee and I are gonna admin it, so you know it's gonna run perfectly flawlessly.
Thank you very much for watching the Headism podcast. The unedited version of this will be going up on our Patreon. Links down below. We spoke about a few extra things, including our tabletop tourneys and a couple of other things that we have been doing recently. If you are interested in our Twitch channels, all those links can be found down below as well. Thank you very much.